Alright, painful topic today, the feeling of relapsing, that stream of negative thoughts that you get after relapsing. We're going to dissect it, we're going to go into the reasoning and what's exactly going on within this sort of cycle which is causing this crash post-relapse. So we're going to get into it, dissect it a little bit and discuss the reasons as to why can't you just relapse and just feel good after it and forget about it. We're going to go into that today. So if you're new here, I'm Joe, was in a 17-year porn addiction, was trying to quit for about 9 of those years, tried NoFap in around 2016, tried that for about 4 years. Meditation, cold showers, journaling, exercise routines, extra reading, all the stuff that we normally try when we attempt to stop and stay stopped. After that, for the next 5 years, I went on to try 2 other paid programs, which unfortunately did not work for me either. This all changed in 2025 when I met Tom Molyneux and Mary Paulus, who taught me what's known as the Beyond Compulsion method, a method designed around rewiring addicted neural pathways to porn in this case. Completely different sort of paradigm to the problem and how to solve it, and I've never looked back since. I'm one of hundreds of guys who have managed to learn how to stop and stay stopped. Safe to say life is very different now. So yeah, this is a very sort of important and relatable topic. So when you relapse, whether you've edged for 10 hours, engaged for 10 minutes, climax, and then going back to your day, those days when you engage in your behavior after trying to stop for a while, however long it is, it doesn't matter if it's 3 days, a week, a month, maybe even 6 months to a year. Once you relapse, once you engage after trying to stay stopped for a while, especially if you started NoFap, because a lot of the NoFap thinking here plays a big part. The way the brain gets wired, the way the mind sort of views the problem of trying to stop porn, trying to stop PMO and stay stopped ultimately. So the relatable moment we're going to talk about is like once you've relapsed and then you try to go about your day, the day just doesn't feel the same anymore. You just feel really down, you feel sort of demoralized, and in the back of your head you know that the day's not going to be quite the same anymore, and you're even thinking all these thoughts. Your brain is going 100 miles an hour thinking about all this stuff, thinking about all these negative reasons, negative consequences, a negative outlook on life essentially. I remember when I was in the cycle, not understanding what I know now, and sort of engaging however long it engaged for. Then I finished, felt crap, and then I would go do a task like go get my groceries or even go to the gym or do something that I would normally have in my daily routine. And while doing these activities, even just walking somewhere, my head would be full of these thoughts, full of this negative self-talk. You failed again. There must be something wrong with you. You can't stop. Why can everybody else stop? I remember like the NoFap posts. I remember these sort of NoFap forum posts when I used to be in the NoFap sort of method and reading them and saying, oh, well, this guy got to 90 days. This guy got to a year or something like that, right? And I was thinking, man, I can't even get past like 7 days. What's wrong with me? There must be something ultimately wrong with my desires. I must be a lost cause because I've been trying so long to stop, been trying so long to get rid of this problem, and I feel that I don't deserve to move on to the better things in my life because I can't put this problem behind me. As you can see, these thoughts are sort of very heavy, but that's the reality. That is the reality of being in a full-time addiction, having addicted neural pathways. And I didn't really understand any of this. I thought it was just me, my personality, how I saw the problem. Maybe I was just wrong. I was looking at the problem the wrong way until, I spoke to Tom and Mary from Beyond Compulsion Academy. And obviously being an affiliate for them now, I'm well versed in the language, the concepts, the education, and it really does shine a big light over stuff that I didn't really see before. And essentially what we're working with here is when you engage in your addiction, and let's say you've been trying to stop using a method like NoFap, which ultimately defaults when you're trying to stop, it defaults to the willpower method on some sort of level. Because when you think about it, let's say if you're using meditation, sure, you could process whatever's going through your head in the moment, watch the thoughts, but the wanting for porn is still there, and you'll still have to experience the wanting for porn. And because it's a compulsive behavior at this point, because you've been in the addiction for years and years, you've been engaging since you were 8 or 9 years old, and, for example, you've been relapsing for years and years, but before that, when you weren't trying to quit either, it was this kind of activity that wasn't taboo. It was very normalized. It was something that every guy did, as you'd probably say back then, right? And because years of engaging, you've built these addictive neural pathways to a mind mood altering experience such as porn. It gets really difficult to magically switch off that desire, because at this point, the desire is compulsive. And what I didn't understand at the time was the thoughts, which then create the feelings when you're in that cycle. And moreover, the thoughts and feelings combined when you're in that state of compulsive desire, when an urge comes up. What happens is, because of the composition of those addictive neural pathways, the thought patterns at that point tend to gear towards any thought that will lead you to a mental position where the thought of relapsing at that point is very compelling. So for example, you have an urge, and then the next thought will be, oh, well, it's really hot today. I didn't sleep enough. I'm tired today. Oh, I deserve it. Oh, one peak's not going to hurt. I think if I peak, and then if I don't feel like it, which I don't feel like it right now, yeah, that's not true. But that is the addicted part of the mind talking. It's the addicted neural pathways at work, as they would be if they built up that dependency to that mind mood altering experience. And so there's all these thoughts in your head. And because when you're on NoFap and you sort of default eventually to a position of willpower, so if I'm using the exercise routine method and I'm just going to do 20 push-ups while I'm feeling an urge, it doesn't make the urge go away. It doesn't stop the thoughts. It doesn't stop the thinking, the junky thinking that comes up when you're in an urge. It's still going to be there. It's still going to not get rid of the wanting. And so what the point is here is that when you eventually relapse and, you give in, as you would say, and finish the session, you're there thinking, it didn't work again. I'm back in square one, and there's more thoughts, more compounding thoughts, the thoughts of helplessness, the thoughts of hopelessness, the thoughts of, damn, there must be something wrong with me. I've not been able to stop again. And rather than viewing this sort of situation as the result of being in an addiction, rather than seeing the post-relapse feelings as a symptom of the addiction, as a symptom of the cycle, we tend to internalize it. We tend to compound the situation by internalizing it, thinking that there's genuinely something wrong with us, that there's genuinely something wrong with our desires, ourselves as humans in the addiction, and get into this mental space of very dark thoughts, and it really can get on top of you. Simply because we just didn't think about the problem correctly. We didn't think about it accurately. We've gone through the NoFap syllabus of understanding this problem, which unfortunately isn't the right fit for getting over this problem. And unfortunately, when it comes to other paid programs, too many elements within a lot of paid programs out there, I went through 2 of them. Unfortunately, a lot of the methodology within those programs derive from this mental position of NoFap, defaulting eventually to a position of willpower, holding out, and not really getting a grasp understanding of the problem. When I joined BCA back in 2025, what I was taught was to connect with the desire when the urge comes up, connect to the desire in a rational way, embrace the discomfort, and think through the choice using a tool that's easy to understand, repeatable, reliable, understandable, and breaks down all the thinking patterns that could possibly come up from an urge when you're in that urge. And on top of the education regarding porn addiction within the program. And it's such a different way of looking at the problem, such a fresh perspective. And for anyone who's been years and years within this problem, it's definitely worth checking out. I'll put a link up to the YouTube channel above. BCA, go watch those videos. Watch 1 video a day. This is what I did when I started learning this different way of thinking about the problem, and ultimately giving me the permanent mental freedom that we've all been after. And it's just such a fresh perspective on the problem and how to solve it. So again, go to that channel, give 1 video a day a watch, start there, see the problem in a different light, and see how you feel. And then come back here if you think that BCA might be a good fit for you. Guys, if you've been here for a while now, there's a link in the description to a 15-minute WhatsApp call with myself. Bring all your hard questions, bring all your doubts and concerns. I'm pretty sure I can resolve them regarding this problem of being stuck in a porn addiction. I was there for 17 years, tried to quit for 9 of them, gone through a lot of the convolution and a lot of the methods that we are typically presented, and this one was the one that worked for me. Feel free to hop on a call and we'll see if BCA is the right fit for you.